This happened a few years ago when I worked as a night watchman at a warehouse. I prefer not to say exactly which state it was in, but I can say that we were near some railroad tracks. At that time, I worked long shifts and most nights were pretty quiet. The truth is, you ended up getting used to the routine of keeping watch, walking back and forth, and talking with your coworkers to kill time. The first time we saw that, it left us completely surprised. It was a normal day. My partner and I were on the day shift sitting near the warehouse looking at the tracks while we talked about whatever. I honestly don't remember what we were discussing. Everything was calm until a huge cloud of dust appeared in the distance. At first, we thought it might be a group of workers or people from a nearby ranch. But as they got closer, we started to notice that it wasn't normal. They were trucks, a lot of trucks. I estimate there were around 50 vehicles. They were all moving together, kicking up dust as they passed, and heading straight toward a train that was approaching on the tracks. My partner and I stopped talking. We just stood there watching. We didn't understand what was happening, but within minutes we understood perfectly. Somehow they managed to stop the train. Then something happened that I'd never seen before. Approximately 200 men started to board it. They moved quickly, as if they had done this many times before. They opened the cars and began to empty them. Everything seemed perfectly coordinated. These were not people improvising. These people knew exactly what to do. While we watched from a distance, municipal police units began to arrive. And honestly, I thought that was where it would all end. I thought they were going to intervene. I thought that finally someone was going to do something. But no. The police officers only watched from a distance. They didn't even get too close. They stayed for a moment watching the situation, and after a few minutes they left. My partner and I looked at each other without saying anything, because we had both seen exactly the same thing. About 10 minutes later, those men finished what they were doing and began to leave. They left some things scattered around the tracks and left just as quickly as they had arrived. And that's when something even stranger happened. When there was no one left, the municipal patrols came back and picked up everything that had been left behind. After that, other agencies would arrive, sometimes state police, sometimes military personnel, sometimes other authorities. But by then, there was absolutely nothing left to find. The funny thing is that most people imagine these kinds of situations with new, huge, luxurious trucks. But it wasn't like that. There were big and small trucks, many of them old models, similar to the ones used by farmers or workers in various regions of the country. And the most impressive thing is that after a while, that stopped surprising us. It became common. So common that when we saw that cloud of dust approaching, my partner or I would just say again, and we already knew exactly what was going to happen. The train was going to be stopped, the cars were going to be opened, and everything was going to happen again. Sometimes they didn't even stop the train completely. That was something that also impressed me quite a lot. I remember seeing several men on top of the moving cars filling sacks with small white balls that looked like plastic. I never knew exactly what they were. I just remember that this activity almost always happened at night. We never got close, not out of curiosity, nor to try to find out more. The truth is, we were scared. Besides, that happened outside our work area, and we understood perfectly well that it was best to stay out of it. Several months went by like that, until one day they started showing up more frequently. Members of the National Guard, the Army, and other federal agencies. The security presence increased significantly in that area. Gradually, all of that stopped. We never saw it again. But honestly, it's one of those experiences that I still remember to this day because of the level of organization that criminals can have. And also, to be completely honest, the level of corruption that seemed to exist among some local authorities. Because after everything I observed during that time, there were things that simply had no explanation for me anymore.